Alright, let's give this a go. I apologize if the recording quality isn't the most top notch, but just wanted to get a demo out of this guy. So we got our RGB controls here, and you can see it's blue and green and red. And the color space is already shifted here because I've already gone in and messed with the settings on the converters. So red, green, and blue obviously aren't necessarily controlling red, green, and blue color channels directly. But speaking of those parameters, this is what I'm working with right now. And it's not really the end all be all. You can really find a bunch of different textures messing with these different parameters in that menu as well as in this menu. But this is just what I'm working with right now. And so this is just the converters working with the different color channels slightly attenuated. But now let me go ahead and show you how each of the oscillators work. So like the prototype, there is an oscillator for each of the color channels. We'll go ahead and turn the one to red on now, and we'll turn the amplifier for that oscillator all the way up. And as before, with some of the oscillators, you might not see them unless you are adjusting the channels a certain way and you have the parameters dialed in a certain way. But this is sort of the most basic oscillator that you'll get. And it's just a scrolling horizontal line. But if you switch the timing on the oscillator to the high switch, then you'll get more kind of diagonal lines. And here I'm just dialing back the amplitude on that oscillator a little bit. Dial back the color channel a little bit. You get kind of like a diagonal, like stripey effect. So that's the high channel. And one thing I added since the prototype is now the oscillators, where before all they could do was be free running on ground, now they can be either synced to the vertical or horizontal sync. So here's the horizontal sync. Let's turn it all the way back up. And let me zoom out here so you can kind of see how the oscillators work. It's a lot easier to see them when they're all the way zoomed out. So this is synced to the horizontal currently, and as you can see, you can kind of get bars that are more stable, staying in one place. Dial back some of the color channels here, it might help. You get a whole bunch of different additional configurations now that these oscillators can kind of be synced to either horizontal or vertical. And I misspoke, that was the vertical sync there, but if you switch it over to the horizontal sync, you can kind of get these scrolling vertical bars. So that's cool. And then you switch it down to the low with the horizontal sync, you get like this kind of grainy, noisy look. So yeah, really a lot more options now that you can sync each one of these oscillators. You can run all three of them at once. So here's the green one. Throw that one on high. And we'll leave that one on the ground. Just kind of give you an idea of how you can combine them. Let's switch this one back to vertical. Or rather, let's switch back to horizontal and put it on the high setting. So, got our vertical bars here. And then we got some scrolling action on the green channel. Zoom it in here, see what we can get out of this. So, things can get a little chaotic once you start stacking all the oscillators, but all I'm really trying to show here is just how many possibilities there really are. A pretty cool effect here. Okay, let's throw the last oscillator on there too, see what we can do. So this one on low, and we'll just keep some variety, we'll put this one on the vertical channel. As you can tell, I'm not really doing anything, like looking to do anything specific here. Just kind of showing you all the different possibilities with the different oscillators and their different configurations. And so yeah, that's the no input side there. So you got your 3 color channels. Each of the color channels have their own oscillators, and the oscillators can be switched between low and high timing configuration, as well as switch between being on the ground, so free scrolling kind of, or sync to vertical or horizontal sync. And, the possibilities are really endless there, but that's just the no input side. So I'm going to pause the video here and get it set up to do through configuration, because this guy will take an input, and essentially you can use this guy as kind of a processing tool for video input, or what I like to do is to process bigger feedback loops within it. So what I'm going to do is plug in the output of my Roland V4 into here, and then I'm going to pop this input back into the V4, and I'll switch this feedback switch to CVB in, and that will switch from the no input feedback to taking the input here, and essentially that's going to create a large feedback loop of the output of the V4 going into here, and the output of this going back into the V4. So let's pause real quick and I'll come back with that set up. Okay, so we're back. Let me pop all the oscillators off here so we're kind of in our default configuration here. So this is right now processing V4 feedback. So you can see the texture is already a lot different, and it's a lot similar to your typical V4 feedback. Let's zoom back out here. So that's the V4 feedback, and of course we can throw all of our oscillators on all the same. Here's one on the green channel. Get that stripy look again. And now that we have the mixer involved, we can add stuff in the mixer. So I like to add some wipes sometimes, and that can create some interesting interactions. Flip the channel. Right now I'm using the Roland V4 to wipe between the original feedback channel as well as a inverted version of that, and kind of use that to create all kinds of interesting behavior and shapes and whatnot. Another thing I like to do with the V4 is mess with the keying, so that we can take, let's try doing some luma keying between channels. Once again, creating some interesting different textures here. Right now I'm not really creating anything, but things seem to get pretty wild here. Right now I'm just messing with that luma keying on the V4. So yeah, possibilities are really endless there. Let's try switching off the luma keying. We'll go back to our wipe. I'm going to switch the wipe to, no, we'll keep that wipe. I don't have anything better set up right now. Invert that channel. And let's try using some mirror functions. So that gives us some nice symmetry. I understand you won't be able to do all of this stuff if you don't have, you know, a V4 mixer, for example, that you can use really any processing tool that you have. But I'm just trying to give you an idea of how this tool could just be integrated into a larger video setup. And I don't even have any of the LFOs on right now. I want to get the sync one going. Free scrolling one. This one's not free scrolling right now. Move to ground channel. There we go. With the free scrolling oscillators, things can get chaotic pretty fast, but it's all about, you know, the vibe you're going for. Yeah. So that's internal processing. You can also just take a video input. I don't think I'm going to show that here, but if that's something you guys want to see, leave a comment. I'd be happy to add that on in the future. But for now, I think this really showcases the aspects of the synthesizer that I really like to utilize. Yeah. That's all for now.